My name is Ridhi Thaker. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been working with Mansi therapy for the past 5 years. Today we'll be talking about anxiety. Anxiety is something which is very intensive, excessive, and persistent worry, and is something like a fear about everyday situations. Along with just having cognitive symptoms, there are also a lot of physical symptoms which comes up for us. Say, for example, increased heart rate, then again, throbbing chest pain, restlessness, tingling sensations, burning sensations, even a lot of tremors in hands, in feet, then again, hot and cold flushes, excessive sweating, breathlessness, trembling are all sensations for anxiety. How would we recognize anxiety as? How do we know that, what I'm going through is called anxiety? So, some of the common signs and symptoms or telltales of anxiety could be feeling nervous, feeling restless, feeling tense, having a sense of constant impending doom that something bad is going to happen, constantly being apprehensive about whatever I'm doing, increased heart rate, then again, constantly feeling a lot of negative thoughts or a lot of anxious thoughts about how my future is going to be, how I will manage it. Sometimes we also start hyperventilating, which is rapid increase in heart rate. Now, trouble concentrating. I cannot focus on what I'm doing. Sometimes, because of anxiety, I can't even focus on what I'm going to say or what I'm going to speak. There's a lot of memory problems that actually occurs because of anxiety. It could be a lot of reasons for it. It could also be because of the fact that now people are there's a lot of reduction in stigma around mental health. People are now having more open conversations about it because people are now seeking more active treatment around it. One of the other reasons could also be, especially this entire pandemic situation, which has identified the need for self care, focusing more on us. And also, this has been present, but now, because of psychoeducation being very much common, people are being more aware about anxiety. So, anxiety is present, but now it's just much more, people are seeking treatment for it. Causes of anxiety can be, say, we can divide it among physiological, psychological, and even social causes. So there are a lot of medical conditions which actually result in anxiety too. Say, for example, diabetes, thyroid, hyperthyroidism, then again, alcohol withdrawal effects, psychoactive drugs, having substance abuse results in also having withdrawal effects, resulting in anxiety. Then again, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, any kind of family history of somebody having anxiety disorder, or any family history of somebody having a psychiatric illness also results in the other person having a higher perceptibility for anxiety. Some of the common psychological causes could be family history of trauma or personal history of trauma, personality factors, then again, low self worth. Also, how do I deal with stress? My coping mechanisms, my stressor intake threshold. How much can I manage stress? That also plays a very important role. Some of the social causes could be poor socioeconomic status, which actually plays a very important role. Also, having poor social support system, and also a very disturbed family environment. Everybody going through moments of nervousness, apprehension is very natural. But how do we differentiate? This is anxiety, and this is just me feeling um, apprehensive at times or feeling anxious at times. So, one of the key differences could be the fact that when my anxiety starts affecting my social sphere, my personal sphere, my work sphere, and it starts having a damaging effect on all my other situations. When everyday situations or everyday tasks starts becoming difficult for me, that is the time when I start realizing that I'm moving more towards having an anxiety is having an impairment in my body or in my own living. So then I know it's much more persistent. Also, one of the key differences could be any stressful situation comes up and we get anxious. That's natural. But even after the stressful situation passed away, I'm still feeling constantly anxious for quite some period of time. That would suffice and classify as going towards anxiety disorder. You can go to a psychiatrist and seek psychiatric medications for it. Go for psychotherapy, go to a psychologist, clinical psychologist, or a therapist who deals with anxiety and can give you a proper guideline as to how you can manage your anxiety. Anxiety is not danger. I do not need to constantly be scared of anxiety. How do I normalize this for myself and how do I overcome it with a lot of coping strategies and a lot of techniques for me to manage this? Some of the other lifestyle changes that we can talk about is doing a lot of relaxation technique. Why? Because anxiety results in activating a lot of our sympathetic nervous system, which starts making us more into a arousal and a hyper arousal state. While doing a relaxation technique, it activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which makes us feel much more calmer. Having a good diet, sleep, a normal regime for ourselves, and also taking care of ourselves. Taking some time for us to do a little bit of journaling, self care, all of those things would help us. I cannot control when anxiety happens, but what I can do is how do I manage it? We, in terms of increasing my coping mechanisms, I can increase my coping mechanisms by how do I deal with it? Am I just constantly going into the avoidance mode whenever anxiety starts coming and I just start like, oh, I cannot deal with this anymore? And I just need to withdraw myself from all of the situations, though I want to do it, but anxiety is making me not do all of these things. Or do I start approaching it and managing my anxiety in different situations? So a lot of things that we can do to calm ourselves in during this process is something called grounding techniques. 5 4 3 2 1 technique, breathing techniques we can help us with. Also managing our thoughts. How do I manage around having these thoughts and not making decisions based on these thoughts and deciding what I as an individual want to do? What would you want to do? Not just what my anxiety tells me to do. 5 4 3 2 1 technique is basically a grounding technique. So what do I do in that? 5 things that I can see, 4 objects that I can touch, 3 noises that I can hear. It can be anything, just birds chirping or even notifications on my phone or somebody talking. 2 different smells. Am I getting some good smell? Say somebody cooking something, or am I getting some pungent smell around me? It can be anything. And one thing that I can taste. In this way, we are using all our different 5 senses to ground ourselves and to calm ourselves with the anxiety. You can go to a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist. The basic difference between both of them is a psychiatrist helps in prescribing medication, which is psychiatric medication for managing anxiety, and a psychotherapist or a clinical psychologist or a psychologist plays a role in managing and giving you psychotherapy sessions in alleviating your anxiety or how you can overcome your anxiety. Now, a clinical psychologist would help in diagnosing the condition, diagnosing the disorder, as well as providing you treatment and therapy for the same, using psychotherapy techniques to manage you for that. One of the ways that I can make a decision is when I see this is getting out of my hand. It's also resulting in changes within me, and these changes are somewhere not welcome for me. So, for example, I do want to go outside and talk to my friends, but I'm constantly having the fear that, they would judge me and I would not be accepted by them. So what am I doing? I'm constantly withdrawing. Another example could be I want to give my exams, but I'm fearful of what if I fail? What if everybody knows that I cannot write my exams very well? So I'm having a lot of intrusive automatic thoughts. So when I see anxiety having an effect on my personal, on my social, and my work setting, then I start seeking help to get better at it. When my sleep is also getting disturbed. Earlier, I could have a restful sleep, but now I'm having very fitful sleep. Say, for example, I'm sleeping late in the night or I'm getting up early, say 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, when my entire routine is getting disturbed. Earlier, I would do a lot of social interactions with everybody, but now I'm not doing that. Earlier, I would talk to others about my problems, but now I'm not doing that. So when I see a lot of changes within myself and I feel that these are not welcome and these are not helping me, then I should seek help. When anxiety starts worsening is when we do not pay any heed to it, or when we start not taking care of ourselves. So, for example, my physical symptoms start increasing. I'm having more of anxiety attacks, or I'm having more of hyperventilation. I'm having difficulty in breathing. I am retrieving more from others. And it's causing a distress and a damage, not in just in my setting, but in an overall setting. For example, for children, it can be poor academic performance. It can be social interaction being hampered, not answering in school, frequent absenteeism. A lot of changes that we can see in individuals. First would be normalizing the process, that what your family member is going through is something very real. Just because you cannot see it or you cannot feel it, it does not mean that it is not real to the other person. The other person's concerns and distress are very normal, and they are very important. So giving the right emphasis for that. The second would also be asking the other person, what can I do to help you in this sphere? What can I do to normalize this process? How can I help you? Third would be helping them calm down at times when they're going through when they're having an anxiety symptoms, asking them to calm down, or something that has worked earlier for them. What can they do to help themselves with those? Connecting them with the resources, having a gentle conversation around it's courageous to go to a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist. It's courageous to look for your mental well-being, and giving a family and social support.